So there is this really amazing playlist on Spotify called Jazz Vibes. If you're into jazz, you have to download it. I'm gonna keep this on just a little bit because I just love it so much. I found it a few weeks ago and I have been listening to it, and it's been amazing. Jazz really brings me back to my childhood because my grandparents were really into listening to jazz. My parents too, my whole family actually. I mean, we were just into listening to all different types of music, but jazz was one of them, and I love it. It just makes me feel good. It inspires me. It helps me just be creative, and it helps me write. I love it. So go ahead and download that. So anyways, I want to talk to you today about how to get over not feeling good enough. So you've probably seen a bunch of videos about this already, but I'm going to talk about it from my perspective because I 100,000 gazillion% understand how this feels, because I put myself in this category of just not feeling worthy or being worthy to help other people, even though I was already doing it. And when I started comparing myself to other people, it created that feeling and made it stronger and stronger and stronger, to the point where I almost felt crippled because I just thought that I would just never be good enough to do anything. I knew that I was good at my business. I knew that I was good at helping people get into shape, because that's what I did. I owned my fitness business. I've owned a fitness business for almost 9 years, and I had no problem taking risks. I'm a complete risk taker, no issues there. But even though I jump in and take this risk, there's this little shadow behind me that's like telling me, I don't know if you're gonna be able to do this. I don't think that you're gonna be good enough. No one's gonna really listen to you. They're not gonna take you seriously. They're not going to respect you. They're not gonna look up to you. So even when I started my fitness business, I had this not feeling good enough ego shadow following me and telling me all these stories and creating all these limiting beliefs inside of me, even though I knew in my heart and my gut and my soul, like, this is something that I had to do. Like, I knew that I wanted to be a business owner. I knew that I was an entrepreneur, but I always felt like I had this chain dragging behind me, constantly telling me that I wasn't worthy and that I wasn't good enough. And I talked myself out of a lot of things, and I talked myself into having to be a certain way. And for many, many years, I was basically telling myself that if I didn't act a certain way, or if I didn't show up a certain way, that people were gonna look at me wrong. They weren't gonna trust me. They weren't gonna respect me. So I couldn't be authentic with them, and I couldn't be open and honest with them. I couldn't, for a long time, I wasn't even connecting with them and on a personal level. I felt like, well, I'm the trainer and I'm supposed to be super in shape, and you're supposed to listen to me, and we can't get close because you're supposed to see me as a higher power, and like, I'm up here and you're down here, and I'm supposed to help you, and yada, yada, yada. It was like all these bullshit stories. And it didn't change for me until I actually went through a financial crisis, because my business at some point was not doing very well. And I just decided one day to be vulnerable with my clients. I decided to open up, and that is when the shift and the change truly happened for me. And I realized that I was creating all of that all on my own, and nobody saw that about me. Everyone thought that I was this badass chick, that I was super ripped and in shape, that I had all my shit together, that I, was just super great and positive, which I was. I'm a very positive person, but I just didn't see that back then. And they thought that I was completely good enough to help them and to coach them, and they actually listened to me. But in my mind, even though I was helping them and coaching them, internally inside, I just kept having this feeling like I'm not good enough. I just don't think that I can do this. Also, what caused that was when I gotta turn this down a little bit. When I owned my business, when I opened my business, I was actually part of this. It was kind of like a franchise, and I met a lot of other fitness business owners. We all opened up gyms, but we all went and did these masterminds together, and I made a lot of friends in the fitness industry. And because I did, we were on Facebook, and I got to watch how they were running their businesses, and these are people all over the country. And I realized that some of them were, opening their second location, and they were opening their third location. And I was just still sitting pretty. I had 2 locations, but I was subletting. I wasn't opening up my own space. And then they were making really great money. I was making pretty decent money. And I started to compare myself, and I was like, oh my gosh, I am not good enough. I'm not as good as them. Like, I kind of suck. I'm not a good entrepreneur. It's the city that I live in. I started blaming it on the city. I'm like, no, nobody's gonna want to come to me. It's just this area. And I was the one doing all of the work, meaning I was the one who was completely self-sabotaging, and I was the one that was putting myself down and creating all of these bullshit stories that I wasn't good enough. And I can guarantee you that you probably do that too. And nobody actually told you that, unless that could be different. I know that I have friends that came from a very horrible childhood where their parents put them down, but they're now at a point where they feel completely worthy in all of the things they do. They actually are the ones that taught me that I am completely worthy in the things that I do. So how to get over not feeling good enough, really looking into your heart and your soul, and really understanding who you are and what you have to offer in the world, because what you have to offer is something that someone is looking for. Someone out there is looking for you to talk to them about your experiences and all of the struggles and the things that you went through. So you need to make sure that you really internally look inward. You listen to your heart, you listen to your soul, and what is it telling you? Is it telling you that you are not worthy? Or is there a part of you that feels that you are, but for some reason all the voices in your head are telling you that you're not? Because that is something that I struggle with. I finally came to a point where I had to tell my ego to shut the fuck up because I got so sick and tired of listening to him in my head, and it was driving me insane. So every time I had a thought that was negative, where I felt like, oh my gosh, there's no way I can do this. Oh my gosh, nobody's gonna listen to me. Oh my gosh, I'm comparing myself to somebody else. Oh my gosh, I feel like I am just going to totally fail, because we all have those feelings. I then reverted that feeling, I reverted that thought into saying, no, I totally am good enough. No, yeah, there is someone out there that can totally utilize me and my skills and learn from me. No, I am just as badass as that girl over there, because I have my own story and I create my own, theme and my own look, and I have my own personality on that. I had to switch my mindset. I had to start thinking a different way. I used to wake up in the morning thinking negative thoughts like, oh my God, how am I going to make money today? Oh my gosh, I need to pay some bills by the end of the month. Like, how am I gonna do that? I used to automatically just go into scarcity mode. I used to think that I just wasn't going to make it. I, just started putting all these thoughts in my head. And then I changed it to, instead of thinking of the things that are negative and the things that I don't want, I needed to start focusing on the things that I'm good at and that I do want. So I would wake up, I started waking up in the morning and thinking about 3 things that I'm grateful for. And then I started thinking about the things that I wanted. So if I was thinking like, oh, well, I really don't want to, move locations. I really don't want to have to go deal with talking to a new owner to move my gym location. Instead, I was thinking, what I really want to do is find a new location that's gonna better serve me and my clients. What I want is to look for a space that's going to help me save on rent and save on insurance. So I just switched that mindset. Once I was able to do that, I felt like this load came off my shoulders. I was able to think clearly. I didn't feel like I had this shadow following me around anymore. I felt like my heart was just more alive and like lit up. Like it almost felt like my heart was suffocating. It was such a horrible feeling. And I just knew that all of that self-talk was self-sabotage. It wasn't anyone else telling me that I wasn't worthy enough or that I wasn't good enough. So getting over that feeling is really just shifting your mind into positive thinking and claiming that you are completely good enough to do all the things that you're doing, is to pretty much ask for guidance and just say, hey, what is my next step? Where am I supposed to go after this? Please guide me into what I'm supposed to do. And 3, it's really just thinking about all the things that you're grateful for. I know that so many coaches talk about that, but it is so true. I only know that because of my experience. And now, you only see me on this video, but all of my friends and all of my clients, if I ever ask them, like, if you can describe Taryn in, 3 words, I can guarantee like 90% of them will use the word positive. I'm such a positive influence. I have a positive outlook, but I had to train myself to be that way. And once I actually shifted in to that part of me, like I felt completely aligned with that part of me, everything opened up for me. I started attracting all these new clients, all these, little doors started opening up into the digital world, because that's basically where I'm transitioning to now, is leaving the fitness world and transitioning into this digital world and creating online courses and coaching people online, because I want to go and travel. I want to go travel full time, and I want to live in different parts of the world and really experience the cultures, because I can and I get to, and I know that I'm worthy of that. So how to get over that feeling of not feeling good enough is to tell your ego to shut the fuck up, to tell your shadow to stop following you, and to really hone in and start writing down the things that you're grateful for, to really start having that positive outlook rather than just self-sabotage. So I hope this video is good for you. I hope that it enlightened you and inspired you, and I hope that you get something from it. If not, it's all good, because I felt pretty good at making this video. And by the way, making these videos are freaking hard for me. I am stepping way out of my comfort zone doing this, but I am going to rock it and kick ass, because I know that I am good enough. So peace on out. I will talk to you later.